Hello, we're at day 7 of Samantha's 7 steps to a successful start. So let's just give a little bit of a run back over the 7 days before we say what today is. So day 1, it was simple. Let's keep it simple, try not to overstate, just bring it back and start small and make it achievable, knowing that we can grow from that point. 2, smile. So let's smile. So smiling is about releasing those happy endorphins, the neurotransmitters in the brain, but it's also about managing our state. So knowing that we have some control over the way that we feel by changing our physical state, by standing up tall, by moving confidently, we can feel better about ourselves, and by placing that smile on our faces. Number 3, stretch. So not just about stretching the body and also connecting with the body, but also stretching and expanding our world, making space to allow the changes to take place within us. 4, smell the roses. So it's about mindfulness, it's about noticing all those little things that happen through each day. Sometimes we can get so bogged down with all of the stress and the anxiety and the pressures that we don't notice the simple beauties that we come across in terms of the flowers, the colours, the smells, the textures, and we just up the smiles from our children. From the people we love. If somebody says something nice about us, we hardly notice it. Whereas if somebody says something negative, then we'll hold on to that for a long time. So notice the good in your day every day. Smell the roses. Support. Day 5, leaning into support, but also realising that actually support doesn't always come from the places where we think it's going to come from. And that can be disappointing. It can be hard because there are certain things we expect. We have expectations of certain people in our lives. We think that's where the support's going to come from, and sometimes it doesn't. Now, they may support us in other ways, so we can lean into support in that way, but maybe we need to look wider and know that the support is out there, but we need to find it. And then number 6, which was yesterday, which was super, self-soothe. I thought that's what it was. So self-soothe, so it's about learning how to sit maybe sometimes with the way that we feel and soothe ourselves. So as we mentioned, the word came from when teaching babies how to self-soothe. So if they feel upset, they have to learn how to soothe themselves. And it's similar for all of us. Sometimes we have to learn techniques and skills that help us to soothe ourselves in those moments when we feel anxious. Now, things like EFT tapping is amazing for that. It's a great skill that you can use. It's an instant thing that you can use. Go to Sisterhood Connections. I've got a tutorial on there that you can watch, or just get in touch. But EFT tapping, fantastic, very quick, and it can help you to soothe your anxieties around a situation really quickly. But there are other ways that you can self-soothe, and that was yesterday. So today, what is today? Number 7. Well, number 7 today is called Start Again. Think, what? Sam's 7 successful steps. 7 steps to a successful start, even. And step number 7 is start again. Well, yes, the reason I say start again is because sometimes when we've made a decision about something we'd like to change in our lives, sometimes either we're not ready for that change, and so then we don't quite quickly, we start to almost fail at the change. And we don't want to use that word, but actually failing it's not as detrimental as it seems. Actually, my life has been a string of failed attempts. I don't just wake up and become successful every day. I have to work through a lot of failure, but that's fine, because that's actually, we fail and then we pick ourselves back up and we grow and we move forward, and that's a pattern of life. So so sometimes we're not ready for the change. And why would we not be ready for the change? Well, one of the reasons why is maybe we're working on something that actually something else needed to happen before you could actually address the big thing. What do I mean by that? So maybe you're trying to stop a habit, a negative habit of something that you do, smoking or drinking, or even it's a negative way of thinking or being or acting or behaving, and you're trying to change that thing. But while you're trying to change that thing, you're becoming quite intense about it because you are desperate for this habit, this behaviour to change. So you become very intense around it, and you're trying to push this thing out of your life. But you're so intense, the energy around being intense is huge, and it's quite powerful, isn't it? You must have felt it when you feel intense about something. The energy around that is really quite rigid. Yeah, so what happens is we become so intense that what we do is we grow more of it. And what we need to do is actually think about the reason maybe why we started it in the first place. And that doesn't have to be a massive self-analysis going back to when it started. But obviously the habit, we talked about this earlier in the week, the habit has developed because it served us in some way. So if we've got a negative behaviour or a negative habit, usually the reason we started it is because it served us. It did us some kind of good. So it was a negative way of dealing with the situation, but it served us at the time. But maybe we need to look back at actually what was behind that, and have we replaced it with something better yet? Because when you're trying to break a habit, if there's nothing in place of it, then often the habit will just reoccur because we've not done anything to change what's underneath. So then that's what we need to look at. We need to start again, don't we? And yeah, if you are at the point when you are changing, then today for you, starting again is maybe, if you feel like you're making some real good headway. I mean, it's only been a week, let's face it, so you do need to embed it. So, you might think, yeah, I've changed it already. But keep starting again and keep going back and thinking about those 7 principles. So the previous 6. Keep making sure you're doing those all the time, because you have to nurture and nourish yourself, feed the soul. And as you do that, then the change that you've made will be embedded. But if you are somebody that is trying to change something and it really feels like it's got an intense hold on you, then you need to start doing things which actually replace whatever it was that this need is meeting in you. So then maybe you need to look at, again, those issues around loving and caring for yourself, looking after yourself, putting in some good habits. So it's not just about trying to intensely change something that's negative. It's about, what am I doing which builds me up? What am I doing? So maybe laying down and listening to, just put some headphones on. There's a wealth of information and good meditation and things on YouTube. There's loads of information on Google. But maybe putting some music onto the headphones, which it's about self-love, self-acceptance, feeling good about who I am, feeling happy, something that's got a real positive affirmation within it. Because actually, if we listen to an affirmation over and over again, if we allow that to enter into our subconscious at a deeper level, then it does rewrite the brain. And it's all in line with neuroplasticity, where it starts to rewire and rewrite the brain's processes. So then you're able to then make positive change because you've allowed the places in your brain to start to rewire and refire in a different way. But that takes time. So start today. Start again. If you feel like, oh yeah, I was making some changes. And I'm not just talking about New Year resolutions. I mean, Gina did a fab article about let's be challenged not to make a New Year's resolution. Oh, it was a brilliant article, and I absolutely gained so much wisdom from it. Do look into that. Sisterhood Connections, Gina Harris, about knots. Actually, it's on my Facebook page, so do have a look for that. But it's not just about making New Year's resolutions. It's about self-love, caring for yourself, accepting who you are as well and how you've arrived in this place. But it is about making those changes from a position of love and self-care. and because you want something better for yourself and your family and those around you. So start putting into place some things in your life whereby you can start to rewrite that subconscious reel that's been running in your mind. So over the many years, there's been some beliefs have been set up in your brain. We talked about this, didn't we, before? Beliefs have been set up in your brain, and they're negative beliefs. And every time you hit a situation where it's very similar, this then gets connected to that belief, and it reinforces the belief, even though it's not true. So we need to then break the power of that by actually rewriting the subconscious, by allowing ourselves maybe just to consider laying down, listening to some meditations, something about positive affirmations, and allow that to start to change you from the inside out. If you can get to a place where you care about yourself, you value yourself, you love who you are, you know that you have something to bring to this world that nobody else can bring. Then when you get to that place, then you're in a better position to start changing other things in your life. So maybe if you're finding it a real struggle to change the things you wanted to change, maybe you need to start again, but start working on something else. Rather than breaking the negative thing and changing this negative thing, think about doing something that is about loving who you are, accepting who you are, nourishing and nurturing you. Start working on yourself and grow that side of who you are and starve the negative side. And then before you know it, the negativity will have broken, because this side will have grown within you, almost like that flower that will bloom. So, of course, for some people, if the issues run deep, then maybe you will need to gain some support from either a coach or a therapist, or, sometimes like we said before, we need to lean into support for these things. But generally, there are a lot of issues that all of us could change within ourselves by just spending a little bit of time doing things that are caring and loving around who we are. So I hope you've enjoyed these 7 steps. Samantha's 7 steps to a successful start. Nothing really new in there. I'm sure most of you've already heard them. There's nothing new under the sun, as it says in Ecclesiastes. But sometimes we hear things and we hear them again and we hear them again, and we think to ourselves, oh yeah, I've heard that before. But did we actually do anything with the information? We can hear something over and over again, but if we don't actually do something about what we've heard, if we don't actually take the time to implement some of the things that we've heard, then we'll always be looking back, we'll always be stepping back and looking outwards to where we could be. Yeah, I always remember Lisa Nichols said, we need to be prepared to be inconvenienced. And that stuck with me, because throughout my life I've had some real challenges, and a lot of it I just felt it was so inconvenient, as well as being traumatic and upsetting and challenging. But I think if we actually accept, life is difficult, but we get to the point where we think, okay, I'm okay with that. But what we need to do is look after ourselves within that. Yeah, get our foundations down strong. Root yourself in something of substance. Get your foundations down strong. Feed your soul, nourish your soul, and then when the storms of life come, you will still stand. Okay, so I'll leave it there. It's been absolutely fantastic spending these last 7 days with you. So I'm going to think about something else I can do with you. But if you want to, go back and listen to it from day 1 again. And I look forward to seeing you or hearing from you. Take good care and enjoy 2018. God bless. Bye.